You've probably done it. You type a question into ChatGPT or a wild idea into Midjourney, and bam! Seconds later, you get a perfect answer or a stunning piece of art. It really does feel like magic, right? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that magic. That's a quote from a student, and it really hits the nail on the head. Because behind every single one of those amazing AI responses, there's a whole hidden world of physical stuff, human labor, and some really complicated problems that most of us never ever see. So the first layer we have to peel back is this whole idea of the cloud. I mean, it sounds so light and fluffy, doesn't it? But the reality is, it's intensely physical. It's made of millions of servers in these gigantic buildings. And as you're about to see, it is incredibly thirsty. Okay, so picture these data centers like giant soda straws. They're packed with powerful servers, running all this AI, and to keep them from basically melting down, they need constant cooling. And they do that by sucking up absolutely massive amounts of water from local sources. It's a nonstop drain that puts a huge strain on regional water supplies. And when I say massive, it's almost hard to wrap your head around the scale. A single large AI data center can guzzle up to 5 million gallons of water. Not a year, not a month, every single day. And to put that number into perspective, that is the same amount of water as a city of 50,000 people. Let that sink in for a second. One building is using the same amount of water as a whole town. This isn't some abstract, far-off cost. It's a direct tax on local resources. But what's really wild is this cost isn't just happening on that huge industrial scale. It actually trickles all the way down to you and me every single time we use these tools. Get this, even a pretty short conversation with an AI, we're talking maybe 20 to 50 questions, can use up about half a liter of fresh water, basically a standard water bottle, just to cool the servers. Now, multiply that by the billions of interactions happening every day, and suddenly it becomes enormous. And, it's not just water. All of this computing power is incredibly energy hungry, which means a huge carbon footprint. By 2030, the AI industry's growth could be pumping out emissions equivalent to putting 10 million brand new cars on the road. Okay, but AI isn't just built on water and power. The second hidden cost we need to talk about is human. There's a vast and almost completely invisible workforce that makes it all run. Researchers have a name for it, ghost work. It's all the hidden human labor that makes AI seem so smart and autonomous. These are real people all over the world doing millions of tiny, repetitive tasks, labeling data, checking answers, and filtering out all of the nasty stuff. It's the essential grunt work of the AI revolution. So who's actually doing all this ghost work? Well, it's overwhelmingly outsourced. Big tech companies send this psychologically draining heavy lifting to workers in countries like Kenya, India, and Venezuela. It's a system that some have even compared to a new kind of digital colonialism. For wages as low as $2 an hour, these workers have to sift through the most traumatic content you can imagine. We're talking murder, abuse, just awful stuff, all to make our AI models safe. And they often do this with little to no mental health support. And this whole system is creating what people are starting to call the AI precariat. These are folks who are facing not just job loss, but also the loss of the purpose, the community, and the identity that work gives them. It's a new kind of vulnerable working class, defined by insecurity and anxiety. All right, so we've looked at the physical and human costs. Now let's actually go inside the machine itself and talk about a huge challenge known as the black box problem. So a black box AI is a system that's so ridiculously complex that even its own creators can't fully explain how it makes a specific decision. You can see the information that goes in, and you can see the answer that comes out. But the logic in the middle, it's a total mystery. And that makes it almost impossible to prove fault when it gets something wrong. Now here's where it gets dangerous. These opaque systems are trained on data from our world, our history. And that data is full of our past prejudices and biases. The AI doesn't just learn from this data, it can absorb and even amplify those biases, which leads to very, very real-world harm. And I'm not talking about hypotheticals here. In finance, a loan AI was found to be using data that acted as a proxy for race, and it unfairly penalized qualified Hispanic and Black applicants. In healthcare, algorithms with outdated race corrections built in have literally delayed Black patients from getting access to life-saving kidney transplants. And this brings us to our fourth and final hidden cost, the absolute chaos of the legal landscape. We're talking about a legal Wild West where fundamental questions about ownership, theft, and responsibility are being fought over right now.
Just think about this. Artists, authors, and news organizations have filed more than 50 lawsuits against the big AI companies. Their claim is simple. You scraped our copyrighted work from the internet to train your models, and you didn't ask us, and you certainly didn't pay us.
And the whole legal fight really boils down to this. The AI companies say what they did is fair use, that they were creating something new and transformative. But the creators? They're arguing that taking their work to build a product that competes directly with them is just plain theft on an industrial scale.
And beyond the copyright issue, there's this huge critical question of liability. I mean, if a self-driving car crashes or a medical AI makes a wrong diagnosis, who's legally responsible? Is it the person using it, the company that owns it, or the developers who created the AI in the first place?
Well, we're actually starting to see a shift. The legal tide is beginning to turn, and courts are starting to hold the software developers themselves responsible for AI failures, moving the blame away from just the person using the tool.
So when we pull that curtain all the way back, the true cost of AI really comes into focus. It's the environmental toll from massive water and energy use. It's the human price paid by that invisible global workforce. It's the ethical shadow of biased algorithms making life-altering decisions. And it's the legal chaos trying to sort out who owns what and who's to blame when it all goes wrong.
Look, this isn't an argument against AI itself, but it is a call to be aware of its full, true cost. Because only when we can clearly see these hidden systems can we ask the most important question of all. Now that we know what's behind the curtain, what kind of future are we going to choose to build with this powerful technology?